Hello everyone, my name is Alyssa Bourassa and I just want to thank the Bruce County Museum and Cultural Center for giving me this opportunity to speak to you about plastic pollution on Lake Huron in celebration of Earth Day. So I'm the interim executive director of the Lake Huron Coastal Center, but before my current role, I was the program coordinator of our plastic pollution programming, which I will chat about today. My background is a double major degree in environmental science and sustainability from Dalhousie University. So the Lake Huron Coastal Center is a charitable organization founded in 1998 with the goals of protecting and restoring Lake Huron's coastal environment through education, restoration, and research programs. Today we're going to talk about plastic pollution in the Great Lakes. So first we'll chat about plastic pathways. So how does plastic enter our Great Lakes? Number two, we'll talk about some impacts of plastic pollution. Then we'll chat about collecting and analyzing litter, which is part of your activity. Then we'll finally chat about what LHCC is doing to fight plastic pollution on Lake Huron and what you can do as well. So most of us have probably heard about the huge patches of garbage in our ocean. A lot of plastic is collected in these areas because of gyres. So gyres are ocean currents that swirl the garbage together, and one estimate suggests that the northern Pacific garbage patch may be close to the size of Texas. Can you believe that? In some areas of the ocean, experts are also saying that plastic outnumbers sea life 6-1. But what about the Great Lakes? The dark green on this map represents the Great Lakes watershed. So that means that any rain or anything that happens in these areas can go downstream from rivers and end up in the Great Lakes. So since that watershed is highly urbanized, meaning a lot of people live there, there's a good chance that the plastic dumped in these areas will eventually end up in the lake. So this diagram helps explain how the Great Lakes can be a source of plastic pollution for the Atlantic Ocean. So we can think of the Great Lakes as one slow-moving river. Water flows from Lake Superior, down to Lake Michigan and Huron, down to Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, and eventually out to the Atlantic Ocean. So along with the flow of water can come plastic. Therefore, the Great Lakes are a huge potential upstream source of plastic pollution that can contribute to the North Atlantic gyre. So since we focus on Lake Huron, it's estimated that 600 metric tons of plastic is dumped into Lake Huron every year. That's about 40 dump trucks worth of plastic. This picture shows how long it can take common household items to break down or decompose completely. So some of these things we don't even think about. We use it once and then it's gone. But the truth is it's going to be in our environment for a very long time. So to highlight a few, we have fishing line, which can take 600 years to break down, or even a water bottle, which can take up to 450 years to fully decompose. So the plastic must come from somewhere. The following are a few ways that garbage ends up in our environment. Garbage can enter the Great Lakes through deliberate littering or poor waste management practices. This can be due to poorly managed landfill sites or even overflowing recycling and waste bins. Any litter that's on the streets can also be blown to the shoreline and can be washed down to the lake by rain or snowmelt. Another way is through illegal dumping. So this is from fishing or other industries. One national database found that fishing-related garbage made up to 1 to 2% of items found during shoreline cleanups in Canada. It doesn't sound like a lot, but this is a huge problem for our oceans. It is estimated that 640,000 tons of fishing gear is lost in the oceans every year. The great seal that's shown on your scene there, on your screen there, was actually rescued by the Scottish SPCA, but other animals aren't so lucky. We don't have a lot of data right now to show that this is a major issue in the Great Lakes yet, but regardless, it's something to be aware of. Plastic also poses a risk to wildlife that depend on the shoreline for habitat. Plastic It can be mistaken for food and cause choking hazards, damage to their organs, intestinal blockage, starvation, and death in worst cases. Entanglement of wildlife is also often due to curiosity of the garbage when they're seeking out food resources or using plastic for shelter. Plastic can also impact tourism. So many of you might live near the lake. We really depend on people who visit the lake to drive our economy. So it can lessen the aesthetic value of the shoreline. It can have negative impacts on recreational activities. It can also cause damage to infrastructure. The cost to clean up plastic in the Great Lakes is in the hundreds of millions. So if we can limit the plastic from ending up there in the first place, that is a very good thing. So I just want you to be aware of microplastics as well. So these are very small plastic pieces that measure less than 5 millimeters. I won't get too into microplastics today, but I just want you to keep an eye out for them when you're doing your activity, which I'll chat about in a little bit. So OceanWise is an organization that coordinates beach cleanups across Canada. Volunteers use a standard protocol to record the types of litter found on shorelines, and whenever we at the Lake Huron Coastal Center hold beach cleanup events, we enter what is picked up into their database. So the data collected helps develop policies in Canada, and anyone can host a cleanup through their website. So each year, OceanWise releases the 12 most common litter types found in Canada. They call them the Dirty Dozen. So this list inspired us to create a Lake Huron version of the Dirty Dozen based on the data that we've collected during our cleanups last year. So I'll just give everyone a chance now to just sit and think about what you consider to be the most common littered item in Canada. We're going to go through 12, but there's one that rises above the rest. So I'm just going to give you 5 seconds now to think about what that could be. Okay, let's get into it. Number 12, we have coffee cups. So we found 264 on the shoreline last year, and it's estimated that 16 billion disposable coffee cups are used each year globally. At number 11, we have hygiene products. So this includes, wipes, diapers, things of those nature, masks. That's something that we saw a lot more of after COVID. Number 10, we have straws. More than 500 million plastic straws are used every day globally, but there has been a major shift to paper products. Next, we have plastic bags. I'm really hoping that number goes down in the future. We are seeing a lot of alternatives to plastic bags in our retail experiences. And then we have beverage cans. At number 8, we found 469 of those. Number 7, we have foam. So this could be due to increased packaging. Foam also breaks down really easily, making them a common microplastic as well. Next, we have soft plastic packaging at 656. Next, we have bottle caps. At number 4, we have paper materials. So paper products are a better alternative to plastic, but they are still single-use garbage, and it takes a significant amount of resources to make paper products, but it is better than the plastic alternative as it breaks down a lot easier. Number 3, we have food wrappers. Number 2, we have plastic pieces, which are some of the hardest to clean up. Many of them get missed during our beach cleanups because they can break down really, really small. So look out for those. And at number 1, we have cigarette butts. Yuck. Cigarette butts are always the most common item we find during our shoreline cleanups. Cigarette filters contain 165 toxic chemicals, which can leach into the surrounding environment, particularly when saturated. So this can reduce soil and water quality. They have been recovered from, unfortunately, the stomachs of wildlife and can take 10 to 15 years to break down. They can be in slow decomposition in the hot, dry areas, such as beaches. So here's the Dirty Dozen data represented in a pie graph. So this helps to visualize the common litter items in proportion to one another. The system of collecting and analyzing litter will be the focus of your Earth Day activity, and I'm going to chat about that next. So for your activity, you will conduct a mini cleanup at your favorite place to spend time in nature. So this exercise gives you the opportunity to take action for Earth Day while recording and learning from the common litter items you come across. This activity will also ask you to reflect on what you find and think about solutions on how to help litter from ending up in the environment. Remember to do this activity with a guardian and follow the safety guidelines outlined in the activity, and we hope you have fun connecting with nature in a meaningful way. Now I'd like to talk about some solutions to this problem. So I will start with what Lake Huron Coastal Center is doing to help plastic pollution on Lake Huron. So last year, Lake Huron Coastal Center hosted 13 beach cleanups located from Sarnia to Georgian Bay. We had 740 volunteers come out to remove 1,700 pounds of trash from the shoreline. If you're interested in coming out to one of our events, you can visit our website at www.lakehuron.ca. We also have a newsletter that comes out every month to keep connected to what we're doing. We have also been holding beach cleanups for 25 years now, so we decided to create a plastic pollution toolkit that community groups can use to host their own event. So this toolkit provides general information about plastic pollution and microplastic, consent forms, safety information, a packing list, and a breakdown of best practices before, during, and after beach cleanups. We are also working on some passive methods of plastic pollution capture. There will be 6 beach cleanup stations on public beaches, which will hold everything you would need to clean up the beach on your own. The top part will have reusable items such as collapsible buckets and litter pickers, as well as bags, gloves, sanitizer, and all of that. So it's kind of difficult to hold a big beach cleanup event often, so it's nice to have this as an alternative method to encourage people to clean up the beaches on their own. We also installed 4 litter traps in Saugeen Shores, which will divert litter from ending up in Lake Huron. The screen just sits really nicely into stormwater grates and stops litter from ending up in the wastewater treatment system. Here are some practical things that everyone can do to fight plastic pollution. I'm sure you've heard about the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle, but I'd like to highlight the most important step, which is reduce or refuse. So refuse the straw, say no to the plastic bag. As consumers, we all vote with our dollars, and having a conversation with your parents and requesting to buy products with little or no plastic packaging can really help this issue. The next step is to reuse. So you can choose to move towards a style of life that's plastic free. You can start by making yourself a plastic free kit. You can grab a Tupperware container, use cloth bags, get a refillable water bottle to bring with you when you need to use them in public. The last step should be recycle, as most of what we end up putting in the recycling bins ends up in the landfill, unfortunately. As a charity, the best way you can do to support us is by volunteering. Anyone is welcome to join our fun, family-friendly beach cleanup events. There are also other great organizations working hard to find a solution to plastic pollution on Lake Huron, including Georgian Bay Forever, Green Goderich, Blue Bayfield, and Love Your Grates. so feel free to look them up. I just want to thank you for inviting me here to chat with your class about plastic pollution on Lake Huron. I hope you can get outside on Earth Day this year and help make a difference.